This one is from Kaylee Cat, and it goes, when I was 22 and living across the country from my family, I tried to talk to my mother 4 or 5 times a week. After 3 months or so, she stopped answering her phone, so I called other people looking for her. My father didn't answer. My grandmother wouldn't talk to me. She'd say she was busy and just hang up, and no one else had heard from her. No one knew where she was. This lasted a few weeks, and I was starting to freak out. Then I got a message from someone about her estate and started crying. I called my dad over and over until he picked up, started crying when he heard my voice, and then hung up on me. Weird, right? I kind of went into a trance because with no information, I had no idea what to do. I couldn't afford to fly home. I was living with someone and helping with the kids, so couldn't just take off. And if she'd been dead 2 weeks, I'd already missed the funeral. My family's faith mandates burial within 48 hours of death. Then 4 days after the call with my dad, I was on the train going into work, and the car shook hard for a minute, then stopped, and the lights went out. A minute later, it started again. The lights came on, and off we went. But I thought someone must have moved because the empty seat across from me had a person in it now. Then my phone rang. I answered without thinking because it was my mom's ringtone. And she freaked out immediately and started crying and talking frantically because I'd answered and she'd been trying to find me for weeks.
Dude.
That's hella weird, dude.
That's weird on many levels.
I got like goosebumps on that. I'm like, oh, okay. You know what that kind of reminds me? Remember that story we had about the twins that were babysitting and the house shook?
Yeah.
And it was like, there was no earthquake. It was on the East Coast, and their parent and grandparents or whatever next door didn't feel anything. What if it was something like that, like where it's like there's like some weird shift in time or like dimension hop or something like that, where it just shakes the foundation of wherever you're at? Because that's kind of the vibe I get from this train thing.
Yeah, like there's a little rumble, and then all of a sudden things are different.
Yeah. And
then a couple weeks later, something happens, and you're like, your mom has not been able to get a hold of you. You haven't been able to get a hold of her.
I would, if that happened to me, 100% I'd freak out. Like from every day there on out, I'd have to call my mom and be like, you still there? Everything's fine?
Yeah. Am I still here?
Yeah, exactly. Where is here? Where's there?
Again, multidimensional shit
That's
stuff.
the only answer I could think of, man. Honestly, like what else?
You know, other than maybe just losing your mind for a little while, but that's also weird. What
if all these, like, you know, out there theories about CERN and all that stuff where they're messing around with, you know, splitting atoms and all this crazy? What if they're successful in this? And it's kind of like what we get when we talk about the Mandela effect and whatnot. What if there's these tiny things that happen that just aren't really something that gets noticed because it's not on like a grand scale?
Yeah.
Like you're not affecting the entire country's lives. It's just like a couple people here and there that got affected by it. And then when they tell their story, it's like, oh, look at these loonies.
Well, yeah. And those people might not tell their stories because they think they're loony.
Yeah. But it is funny that there's like, the thing that caught me off is like when her dad answered the phone and then starts crying and then hangs up on her. And you're like, dude, what the hell is going, like, well, even in this other dimension or whatever, what's going on where, unless like in the other dimension, she didn't exist. And then, so the dad getting a phone call from her is probably like, whoa, what the hell?
Yeah.
And just starts crying and then hangs up. I don't know. Oh God, man, there's so many questions. This story had literally everything in it, where it's just, it kept hitting all these marks. I'm like, oh God.
You know what it didn't have in it?
An answer.
Marvel. But now that Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness came out,
you're just putting it in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
because it kind of feels like that kind of reality right there. And I won't say more than that in case people haven't seen the movie, but
yes,
when you see something like that, it, like in a theater, it helps you maybe see that there could be something like that out there, something going on that just is way beyond what we understand, even if we experience it.
Yeah, which is entirely possible. Sure,
why we do this podcast.
That is why,
because there's a lot of stories like that.
Yeah. Are you listening to this and have you experienced a rumble that you simply cannot explain? Call into the Freaky Deaky and tell us your story.
Unless it's Wednesday and yesterday was Taco Tuesday. We don't need that kind of story.
We can explain that rumble.
Yeah.